Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video you have my first quarter unhaul, first quarter of 2024. I'm filming this very early in the month of March 1st actually, but I wanted this video to go up in March and I didn't want to wait until I'd read all of my March TBR to see which books of those that I'm keeping. As I have refined how I purchase books, more and more of these are books that I have read that were in my own TBR and I no longer want to keep. They didn't reach the 4-star or above rating. I still have a handful of duplicates, all of them accidental duplicates, but I'll get into these. It's probably going to be a short video because thankfully I'm not actually getting rid of all that many books. I do like the fact that I am figuring out a little bit more of my reading taste and not necessarily just buying all the books. So we have one book that when I was going through my own TBR and filming that video, I just looked at it and went, I really don't care to read this. And so that is Ship Out of Luck by Neil Shusterman. This is part of a series that I started a very long time ago, pre-booktube. So I'm just not interested in it and I don't remember anything from the first book in the series. Then we have my accidental duplicates. I have The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab. This, I had forgotten that Owl Crate did a one-off special edition, and when I looked before I bought the Book of the Month edition, I looked at all of the regular subscription book boxes and they weren't doing it, and I'd forgotten about that. So I got this from Book of the Month, but I have a gorgeous Owl Crate edition, so obviously I'm keeping that one. Then we have one book that was a self-own. I purchased it because it's on my 24 books to read in 24, but I forgot that I'd purchased it because it hadn't arrived yet, so I purchased it again. And that is Run to Overcome by Mepka Flegsky. I have 2 editions of these. This book, I don't need 2 editions. Then we have a few that were accidental duplicates from Christmas. One of them, my dad didn't even realize that he purchased 2 of them. That is So Many Beginnings by Bethany C. Morrow. I opened up the box and there were 2 of them in there. I don't need 2 of them. The next 3 were an accident on my part because I forgot to take these 3 books off of my bookshop.org wish list, and I ended up with the first 3 books in the Trials of Apollo series, duplicates of them. I felt really bad, but at least these will hopefully be going to a good home, and more people are interested in this now with the Disney Plus series. Then we have one that I read, but I am DNFing the series, so I'm getting rid of the rest of them, and that is the Al Capone series. I read this in February, decided to DNF the series, so I'm not going to be reading this one. Then that leads me to the biggest stack of all, and that is books that I have read, but I'm not keeping. You will see by all of the sprayed edges that most of these, all of these are book box books, and all of these are books that I read for my Goodreads Choice Awards project. The first one was the last one that I read as far as reading through the categories that I chose. The rest of them are from those other categories that I just happened to so own them and decided to read all of the ones that I owned. The one from the categories that I do read through, this was YA Fantasy that I'm getting rid of, House of Marion. I think I ended up at a 3.5 star on this one. Definitely not going to keep that one. Then we have 2 out of the 3 romantasy books that I owned. Does it surprise me that I'm getting rid of 2 out of the 3 and the one that I'm keeping didn't really read as romantasy? It does not surprise me. We have Assistant to the Villain. I did not have a bad time reading this. It was campy fun, but it earned a 3-star, I think, on Copile, and I'm not keeping anything in my library that I've read and rated less than 4 stars. Then we have one that I just didn't enjoy. There were lots of awkward parts of it. This is one of the more recent ones in the Unhaul pile that I read, and that is The Hurricane Wars by Thea Guanzin. I haven't been saying all the authors. I don't know why I say it sometimes and why I don't say it others. I think all of the remaining 4 are one from 4 different categories. I'm pretty sure that The Invisible Hour was in the just regular literary fiction section, although it has bits of magical realism in it. This was intriguing, but it tried to do too much. Then we have one from the historical section, and that is The Secret Book of Flora Lee. The way I never really connected with this, and then the way that it ended, so sickly sweet, sappy cliche, I was like, no, I'm not keeping this one. Then we have the last book that I read in February, that is Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh. This almost was a keep. This was a very high 3.5 stars, but there was enough about it that didn't work for me. If you'll see my February wrap up and March TBR for more detailed thoughts on that, it just didn't quite work, but I see what she was doing there, and I definitely see her skill in writing. And the last one is the only DNF physically that I have, and that is The River We Remember. This was in the mystery thriller category. In that category though, I had 3 total books. I read and loved 2 of them. They were 4.5 stars in February. This one was a DNF. But this one was just a lot through the male gaze. I wasn't connecting with it. Didn't necessarily want to keep reading. And so I went and looked at some reviews and saw some of the things that it were referenced in vague terms that happened at the end. And I think it would have really rubbed me the wrong way had I gotten to those. So I'm going to pass this on to somebody else. Maybe someone else will enjoy this more than me. All in all, I'm not getting rid of a lot of books. This video, as of just runtime, is only about 8 or so minutes long. This is probably going to be about a very quick 5-minute or so video. Maybe I'll do more shorter videos, but I do want to do them quarterly because obviously I wouldn't have all that much to talk about if I did my unhauls every month. So there you go. There are all the books that I am getting rid of in the first quarter of 2024. Not too shabby if I say so myself. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one.